welcome to this week's edition of the Pete Mezzetti Show. I'm your host, Pete Mezzetti. My guest this evening is Chris Aniskovich, who is chairman of the Town Council for the Town of Clinton. Chris, welcome. How are you?
Good, Peter. How are you?
Good, my friend. Good, my friend. Good to see you. It's been a while.
Yeah, it has been.
It has
same,
been.
Same Zoom thing, though, so it's still the weird part about it.
Yeah, oh, trust me, I
I'll
know.
be glad when this is done.
Absolutely. Trust me, I've got a whole studio to myself. It's sort of nice, but it's sort of lonely at times too, because I'm the only one in the studio.
See? You're the smartest one there now, Peter. There you go.
Gee, thanks, Chris. So, Chris, what's going on in the town of Clinton?
We're doing good. A lot of stuff, obviously. COVID slowed down a lot of stuff, but we've still pushing through. The old Morgan site property is still, full steam ahead. He's working very hard on getting that up and running.
Okay.
We've been told that probably in the next 30 to 45 days, they'll be ready to break ground over there and lay the pad possibly for the Big Y. So At that point, you see even a little bit more going on over there, but it's exciting to see because every day you go by and, since the last time we talked, the school was there. So now the school's not there.
No.
So that they worked really hard to get everything moving forward, and the developer is, really looking forward to push forward to get this project up and running. Big Y, obviously, as everybody knows, is coming. So that'll be the first thing that they start up. So hopefully, like I said, 30 to 45 days, maybe they'll start with the pad over there for Big Y and get that moving. The other confirmed tenant is Starbucks that everybody knows. So, again, those will be in the front, but that project is going along great. And, glad to have him here. And he's been a great developer, great person to work with the town, and been very congenial with a lot of the stuff that he's done so far with the project. So we're happy to have him.
Absolutely. Actually, I was by there the other day because I had to go up to the outlets or something, and went by there with my mom, and it's like, oh my God.
Yeah. It's fun. It's good to see.
It's all
a long time coming. So people, unless that, people get excited about it because it's great for the town.
Oh, absolutely.
This is the stuff that we need in our town, and it's difficult for people. A lot of people, think that we're losing our small town charm, but the reality is that you still have to be open to development, but yet maintain what you really want. And we do have some areas in town where we can hopefully keep that small town charm and keep that mentality there, but yet work enough so that we're growing the town and growing the grand list and generating some tax revenues for the town, which will help. So that's sort of the balance that you weigh here in town. And I think so far so good. We're doing a very good job at that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. What other town projects we got going on?
Unilever moving forward. So the building over there, he did get the permit to start working on the apartment building.
Okay.
So that's starting now. He's working on that now. And then moving forward, he will start on obviously the main building, which the town is still in discussions with him about how we'll handle some tax credits, tax abatements that he's looking for in that.
Sure.
So that's still in the process there, but he does have the permit to move forward with the apartment building, which he's working on now. So that's great to know. That's great to know. The train station will be done, hopefully, supposed to be done spring, maybe late spring. We'll see what happens, but that is obviously looking great as well. So that whole area over there, the former where CVS was and everything else, it's great. It's a great gateway for people that come into our town and to drive to downtown. That is when they come in that they're seeing things that have been worked on. So that part of town seems to be doing great. So we're very happy about that.
Absolutely, absolutely. And what's going on with the town council?
Just kind of working through our thing. We have these Zoom meetings and it's just difficult sometimes to work on stuff, but we seem to be, still getting our feet wet on how we're going to handle some stuff. I think I spoke about it at a couple meetings ago, how, at the beginning there were some hiccups. I think there was people, that maybe didn't know how this was all going to be handled. At the last meeting I spoke about possibly doing a, some sort of function somehow, some way, even during Zoom, about how we'll handle maybe some Q&As from the people in town and putting something out there that if they have some questions on how it relates, on how we function, on how we operate, and, town manager, town council, town chair, how all those come into play and how we all handle things. And people just really need to kind of understand that, we're directed by the charter. So regardless of, what people may say, what people may think, everything that we do and can do and can't do, or, job and things are all related to our charter. So the charter dictates what a town manager does, what a town council does, and what the council chair does. So, we want people to understand kind of, how this will continue to work, because obviously we're here, we're not going back.
No.
So it's working well. I think, yes, I do wish people would see more of what the town manager does and kind of what he works on a daily basis, because they'd be pretty impressed. The stuff that he's handled for us as a town, dealing with COVID. We're very thankful that we have a town manager in our town to deal with that stuff during these times, because I got to be honest with you, it's crazy. And having somebody with 20 years of experience as a town manager, it's a great help. So not to say that, anything in the past may or could or couldn't have happened. Let's just be happy with where we are. And just have the council continue to work through. We had some goal setting meeting that we had to kind of keep us, on one path as far as what we want to work on. So going forward, we'll deal with some, policies, some procedures, some stuff that we want to do in town. There's some things that I want to talk about that, will be coming forth in the future. As far as I think what we need to do as a town, to certainly maintain, as we grow, maintaining the things that we need to maintain. So I think we're doing great. I think the council is now sort of understanding we need to work together to get things done. I always stress, we're in a municipality. We're in the town of Clinton, 13,000 people.
Yep.
The world out there is ugly sometimes. We would like to keep it that way.
Right.
Keep the ugliness out there. Let's work together as a group and as a cohesive unit, so that people know that we all are working for the same thing for the town of Clinton. And that's what we need to do. We can't really worry about other outside distractions related to the state, federal level. Let's do what we can for the people here in town.
Right. Now, how is the town of Clinton handling the pandemic?
I think we're doing great. I mean, honestly, it's difficult, and you can ask 5 people and get 5 different answers, but,
right.
Again, the municipalities have to rely on some of the things that come from the state level. So, right. The information that we have comes from the state, or the directions that we need to take come from the state level, come from the health district, so those things, we have to deal with, and it's kind of touch and go sometimes. And it's, whatever we get, we just have to deal with. I think as we head toward the vaccine issues now, mm-hmm. We as a town, Michael Neff is our emergency director, has done a great job of putting together some programs that we have over at Town Hall to help the residents at the 75 plus with their registrations, because it's a very difficult process. I'm not going to lie and tell anybody it's easy. Some people stay on the phone for a long time, don't get any answers. They go to the website, a number of different ways to do it. They all can become difficult. And for the elderly, it's even more difficult, because they may not have the computer savvy, the tech, that they need in order to do these things. So, this program that that Michael had set up is wonderful. People have come to Town Hall, they've gotten the help to register and set up the vaccine appointments. So hopefully we'll try to, keep on that path and do a couple more of those. But I think we're doing a great job of a service to the community, again, which is what we're supposed to be doing.
Exactly. And I'm assuming the town council is still meeting remotely?
Unfortunately, we are meeting remotely.
Right.
So to the foreseeable future, yes. And it's hard. Again, you'd always want to be in person, like you say. What, you're in a room by yourself, and
yep.
it's we want to be able to do that. But again, the baby steps that we'll take in order to get this done, we'll do. Whatever they ask us to do, we'll follow that path. Exactly.
But from what I understand, your meetings are actually televised.
Oh, they are, aren't they?
I think so. Tell me about it.
Yes, I mean your group does a great job in televising and filming these these meetings that we have on a regular basis. Chris mm-hmm. has done a great job. You've done a great job. The Valley TV has done wonderful for us in order to get that message out to the public. So it's great. We post these on our website sometimes, and and again, it's just making sure that more people are able to hear and see what's going on during this pandemic time, because they may not have the ability to come to a meeting and show up. So, thank you guys for all you do for us as a town.
No. Thank you guys. Yeah, I was going to say, I'm sure that's going to be a very interesting part of things going on. How are you guys going to handle town meetings, especially during what's going on?
Yeah, I mean, we'll continue the path that we're going down until we're told otherwise. Technically, could we have them? Yes. I mean, the town could sit there and say, we can go meet in the green room at Town Hall, be 6 feet apart, but then how many people can you allow in? How many people, are going to be able to show up to the meeting? So it just doesn't, it's better to be safe, and that's what we'll continue to do, is just be safe, and handle and do the meetings remotely as long as we need to.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Not what we would like, but what we'll do.
Exactly.
At least not what I would like. Maybe other people do.
Yeah, right. Yeah, no, I'm
never
sort
know.
of, it's sort of nice in here by myself, but it's sort of lonely as well. It's like, okay.
It's hard. Yeah.
It is.
It's hard. And you obviously, you get more done. In-person meetings, you do get more done.
Right.
You have the ability to, obviously to speak to other council members and, just the dynamics of it all, because it's difficult as a chairman to sit there and have to, control these meetings. And it's difficult when somebody's talking and they may not hear somebody else talking. So they start talking and it just becomes difficult. And it's,
absolutely.
It makes it seem like it's chaotic, but it's just, so you do the best you can.
Absolutely. Let's talk about, before we move on to the next topic, what else is going on in town?
No, a lot of development. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on in town. There's a lot of people coming in. We can talk about the reval. I don't know if anybody wants to.
Yeah, well,
I don't know if anybody wants to, but we will.
All right.
All right, the good and the bad. So here it is.
All right.
Values are going up. And I mean, it's, that's the good and the bad. The good is that the values in our town have gone up. Different for all types of properties, the capes, the colonials, all different types of properties have different value increases. The bad part is we all know what else that brings.
Exactly.
So, tying that into budget season and see where we go with that plays a big part. It played in a big part of our budget season last year when we talked about it, because we knew it was coming. So this wasn't something that was new to us. We knew it was coming our way. It happens every 5 years. And the difficult thing at this point is, again, the good news is the values are going up. So we're seeing, value increases in our area. The flip side is that has sometimes a negative impact on what you're paying on taxes. So you have to do what you can to offset some mill rate so that we can kind of, balance what we need to balance.
Right.
And again, the unfortunate part is it's great. My values are going up, but if you're not looking to sell your house, it's useless. So, that's the problem. And again, if you're going to sell your house to go buy another house, mostly all along the shoreline, values have gone up. So it's going to be a very difficult year. Going into budget season, we understand that. So we'll do what we can in order to, maintain a mill rate that may help offset that increase in values that people are going to see on their properties.
Chris, would you mind sticking around for another segment?
Absolutely.
All right, we'll be right back.
Smart TVs and streaming services have taken over the television industry. VSC TV is proud to announce our presence on Apple TV and Roku to make watching your favorite shows even easier. You can access this service by downloading the Cablecast ScreenWeave app. Then choose Valley Shore Community TV from the list of channels. Select VSC TV Live to watch our channel in full HD. Or pick a show from our on-demand video library. VSC TV is your local Connecticut Midshore Valley digital connection.
Welcome back to this week's edition of the Pete Mezzetti Show. I'm Pete Mezzetti, sitting here with Chris Aniskovich, who's the chairman of the Town Council for the Town of Clinton. Chris, welcome back.
Thank you, Peter.
Thank you, my friend. So, Chris, let's open up this segment talking about the town budget and meat, potatoes, and all that other fun stuff.
Yeah, isn't it fun?
Oh, yeah.
Listen, budget season's always fun. So you know
absolutely.
what? It's the necessary evil that we have.
Right.
And we're not different than any other town, so we deal with it all.
Nope.
Again, it's hard. Clinton, as a town, we have two separate budgets. So our budgets are broken into educational budget and a town budget. An operational budget and the Board of Education budget. So, we have two votes on our budgets here in town. So it's two separate votes that we would have to engage in order to pass these budgets. So, it's a lot, not that it's any more work, but sometimes it's difficult because we do have split votes sometimes. Sometimes we have a Board of Education budget to pass, the operational doesn't. So it just becomes difficult. So, COVID, obviously, last year we did what we could to get it to a zero flatline, and we did. So last year there was no tax increase in the town of Clinton. Right. And, going into this year, again, the big problem is going to be the revals. We have a pretty significant increase in values in town. And the only way to offset that increase sometimes is to, see what we can do to manipulate that mill rate to get that down so that people's taxes aren't, going up an extraordinary amount. Exactly. But again, it's not something that we just say, we take lightly. We know everybody's still struggling. We know COVID is still a problem. We know people are still unemployed. We know there's, a lot of things that are out there. Our town is not immune to what's going on, any place else. And, we do have the people here that struggle, and we do what we can to try to make sure, that we keep the increases, at a reasonable rate. I can't sit here and say what's going to happen, but what I can say is that, everybody in the council will fight for what we can in order to make sure that, that we don't attack people's pocketbooks. And, that being said, it's hard. It's hard for everybody, because you don't want to cut services. Layoffs are always the last thing that you ever want to do. So when you reduce a budget, it never goes to layoffs because you don't want to lay people off. So it becomes service related, and then it's, what services do we need to take away on the school side? Obviously we don't want to affect the students, that they're the important part. That's what it's all about over there. So they're both very difficult budgets to deal with. Again, tomorrow night we start. So tomorrow night's our first meeting. Okay. For the budget season, and then we have meetings, going through to April. But the meeting tomorrow night will just get us basically off the ground and running. So we'll be presented with the Board of Education budget tomorrow night, okay. And then that way at least we can hear from them as far as what they're presenting to us. And then the tough part starts, and it's never an easy job, and no. Everybody involved, and it's everybody involved. The department heads, it's Carl, himself, does a lot of work behind the scenes. What people don't understand is the amount of work he's already done, right. As it relates to this budget, because he's been working on it for months already, because he knows kind of what we're facing. He knows kind of, where things might be able to be, adjusted. And he does the best he can, that when he brings us a budget to the town council, most of the stuff on the operational side is already taken care of. Because that's what he can handle. That's what he, deals with. Unfortunately, Board of Education side is, out of his hands. It basically comes from the Board of Education to us. Yep. And then, we'll have those discussions about what we can do. But again, you never want to, impact the students, and you never want to impact services. That's Absolutely. Kind of how you got to look at it.
Absolutely. Hey, speaking of services, with what's going on with the COVID, how does that affect the day-to-day operations of the town hall?
I mean, on a day-to-day, at the beginning, there was a huge impact, obviously, because, we're limited hours. You didn't want people in town hall. They were limiting to where people can walk in town hall. Okay. It would be on a, you'd have to call in to make an appointment in order to go see, land use or to see tax collectors. So, yep. Those sort of things were very, very difficult at the beginning. At this point, it's not the same. It's, town hall's open. People can go in. We still ask for socially distanced masks. We still do have a outside mailbox that we have. People want to pay taxes, they can go and they can dump a tax bill into that. So that's kind of people that don't want to go into town hall can do that. But it did have it had a very big impact. And, there's not much you can do. It was the way we had to deal with it, and we dealt with it as best we could. And I think everybody there did a great job. Town hall, went through the struggles like a lot of towns did, but they've done well in making it through. So, knock on wood, we're hoping that, as we go forward, things will get better and we can start opening up things a little better. And, it won't be as hard on people as it has been in the past. So,
absolutely. Hey, from what I see in the local publication recently, mm-hmm. How is that going to affect the town referendum for the budget? Are we going to be able to vote in person, or how's that going to go?
I just had a conversation this week with Carl, and again, we would love to have it in person. If that's the way we can do it, we will. But again, nothing's come from the state, so we haven't been told that things would be any different than they were last year. So unfortunately, right now, we don't know what's going to happen. But again, executive orders from the state will mandate how we handle it and what we do. Last year it went as best as we could. We still had a lot of input from the public, right? A lot of emails, not as many phone calls when we had the meeting, but it's just awkward. It's awkward. Right. It's strange. It's not something that you want to do. But again, we'll say the same thing that we said last year, that if we're doing the same thing as we did last year, it's because of an executive order that's mandated by the state. And that's where we have to take our direction. But right now we hopefully can say that we'd like to do it in person. But again, if anything changes, we'll let everybody know well in advance, but we have not been told one way or another how anybody can handle budgets this year.
Absolutely. And I'm sure Carl's working hard. Nobody probably understands what he does. Nobody understands how hard he works all day.
I can tell you they probably don't. So, the difficult part that for us, it's been different. So we've been a first selectman form of government forever. So that first selectman is, you see them out because they live here. Right. First selectman has to live in the town. Right. So you see that individual out. You see them at the grocery store. You see them at baseball fields, football fields. Right. You see them all over the place, and they're part of that community. With a town manager, there's no requirement that says that individual has to live here. In our town charter, we don't mandate that town manager lives in the town. Right. And for me, I completely agree. I don't think we should mandate that someone would have to live here in this town, because then I think you limit the exposure to what you can bring into town as a town manager, because some people will say, I don't want to move. And that might be a woman that you want here in town as your town manager. But so you don't want to limit, you don't want to limit that. That being said, people, I think, are still losing sight that they think that town manager is the first selectman. And that is not how it operates. That's not how a town manager form of government operates. The town manager operates as a CEO would operate any other company. So their day-to-day basis is, that's what they handle. They handle town hall. The department deals with department heads, police department, DPW, every department head in town hall, town employees report to him. That's how a town manager functions. He is, the CEO of that. So any messages that sometimes get put out by the town get put out through, the ceremonial head of the town, which happens to be the chairman. So,
that would be you.
That would be me. So some people, well, why you? Well, town charter says I'm the ceremonial head of the town, and this is how things operate. So it's not necessarily the town manager. So, he came up on his first year, just recently. And we had, obviously we had a evaluation. We talked about it, some things that he could do, so that he sees and people can see kind of what he does. But on a daily basis, he's been working on the budget for well over a month, probably 2 months now. Okay. And people don't understand or see that, but that's what he does. That's their job. Basically the chairman of the town council is the spokesman of the town. I don't go out and say things on my own because I have nothing better to do, or because I just want to talk to everybody. If any messages that I deliver to the town, come through town hall, come through the town manager, and, listen, these messages that we put out, I think we've done a phenomenal job in communications. And I think, going forward, we'll continue to do that. And, it isn't who delivers the message. So it should be that we're delivering the message. Absolutely. And, I think at the beginning there was some, confusion, let's put it that way. We'll use confusion as the word we'll use, about why things were handled that way. And again, everybody's getting used to it. We're still a year into this, but, people that want to see, the town manager out there at the grocery store and here and there and every place else, town managers are very apolitical. Exactly. They're not to be involved in any politics of anything. When we hired a town manager, you don't even ask their party affiliation. It's not even a question that's asked. Oh, really? So, and the reason they don't is because people also need to kind of understand that if a town manager comes out and says something, okay, that's a political message. So if he says something to support something, then he becomes then political, because should something be endorsed by the town council, whatever majority where that lays, I mean, it becomes an issue. Right. So the message is never, when a town manager, should never have that, message being delivered to the public where it makes it seem like he's taking a side on something. He basically delivers information to the town council. Mm-hmm. We in turn, he works for the town council. Ultimately, that's how it works. That's our charter. That's not anything other than the town charter dictating how that function works. Right. And that's how it works in other towns. Do other towns, want their town manager to live there? Yeah. No, but that's basically something that they've written into their charter that they think would be beneficial to their town. I'm not saying that it would or would not. What I'm saying is I like the idea of them not, because then they can separate themselves. Right. Because again, a town manager that would be going in and that was, readily available, and you're over there trying to get some cucumbers, and somebody comes over and says, well, why are we not doing this, or why were we not doing that? He technically can't answer the question. If he doesn't, he becomes rude. And if he does, then it becomes, him answering a question where maybe saying he's, agreeing to something or not agreeing to something, which he can't do or shouldn't do.
No, of course not.
So I think that's one of the things that I talked about at the last meeting, having something where we can kind of be able to deliver a message to the town so that they understand, per our charter, this are the job responsibilities of the town manager. These are his functions. This is what he does. And again, we have talked to Carl about maybe putting out something, that maybe the public can understand on what he's been working on a weekly, monthly, or whatever basis. So, again, as we go, we'll tweak it and we'll get it right. And, as we go forward, we'll tweak it again because it's never going to be right. So
Of course.
that's the good thing.
Absolutely. And I think one of the first times right after Carl got hired, right before the pandemic, him and I were supposed to do this show together.
Yeah. And then COVID hit.
That's right.
So, and I'm not going to lie, he's probably happy about that. So it's difficult for him. Well, I'm saying because it's hard, you know what I mean? And it's hard for town managers to be the one that's out there talking about certain things. Because again, you don't want them saying something and then somebody says, well, he's in favor of this or he's not in favor of that.
Right.
That's not what they're about. They don't speak to that at all. They speak to general terms and he comes to the council. Ultimately, that falls into the council's hands and we make that decision.
Cool. Well, Chris Aniskovich from the town of Clinton, thanks for some time and hopefully we'll see you again soon.
Thank you, Peter.
Thanks, Chris.
Stay healthy.
You too. On behalf of Chris Aniskovich, I'm Pete Mezzetti. Thanks, good night, and we'll see you next time.